Hello everybody, I'm InTheLittleWood, also known as Martin. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Fortnite. So before people go ripping my head off, the title is a little bit over dramatic, it's a little bit hyperbole. Fortnite is by no means broken. I'm really enjoying Chapter 2 Season 1, but after discussing some stuff with you guys on Twitter, I thought it'd be cool to sit down and discuss the many things that I think could just be tweaked or changed or added or removed in order to make the game that much better. So just before we get into all of that, I want to let you know that today's video is sponsored. We don't have those very often. And this one is by TikTok. So during the downtime of the Fortnite black hole, watching TikToks genuinely filled a lot of my time up. I started sending them to like Nettie and Minnie and Timmy and all my other friends, and we've basically just set up a separate group chat for it now. It's great. And to sweeten the deal for you guys, if you grab the app today, we have got 3 battle passes to gift out. So all you got to do is go to the link in the description, use that to install the app, pop me a follow, and then all you've got to do is go to my latest post and put your epic ID in the comment section. I'm going to give you guys around about 48 hours. I'll pick 3 winners. It's as simple as that. I've already got 2 TikToks that are Fortnite related posted on there, and throughout the course of Season 1, I'm probably going to be posting all of my challenge videos on there as well. So as I said, link in the description, free to enter. Good luck. And without further ado, here are my 9 ways to fix Season 2, Chapter 1 of Fortnite. Number 1, customizing the HUD. So we're starting off small here just to ease us all into this video. So the overlays for Fortnite this season have barely changed at all, other than the introduction of, I guess, the XP bar along the bottom of the screen, and the repositioning of the health bar to the bottom left corner. But that is actually one of the things that has been triggering a lot of people online. In fact, from my tweet that I did earlier this morning, that was the most popular response that I got back. I think a lot of people would appreciate a toggle to move the health bar and, you know, the shield bar from the bottom left corner of the screen to the center of the screen. I can totally appreciate why people want this as well, because we've all become accustomed to looking in that general direction after we take a shotgun blast to have a quick glance to see whether we need to go and heal up or whether we can continue the fight that we're currently in. I guess it's one of those situations where old habits die hard, and glancing down in that direction rather than looking to the bottom left is going to take some getting used to. Number 2, mobility on land. So Fortnite has definitely wiped the slate clean this season and reverted to a very grounded and foot-based travelling system to rotate through the map, similar to Chapter 1 Season 1, which I actually don't mind at all. Boats are of course a great touch when it comes to water travel, as well as using the river currents to swim a little bit faster downstream, but there's no doubt going to be more and more occasions where the storm is hot on your tail and you've got another 500 meters to go and you're not near the coastline. Now before you start getting all sarky and clever with me by saying, well Martin, you can ride the boats on the land and use the boost, that's not viable, friend. There's very little control, like you're going to be doing damage to the boat as time goes on. It won't last forever. But fear not everybody, because I suspect that Epic already has something lined up to combat this, because if you notice on the map at the moment, there seem to be very prominent roads, and it seems to loop around to every single point of interest on the island, and that's very hard to ignore. So maybe sometime in the near future, we're going to be seeing cars, jeeps, or any other kind of automobile. Either way, I think a lot of people are feeling the pinch at the moment because the jump pads are gone, the bouncers have been vaulted, and there are no more drift boards. Number 3, Battle Pass numbers. So a moment ago we spoke about the HUD, or the overlay if that's what you prefer to call it, but we didn't mention the most glaring difference that affects not only your nameplate next to your health bar, but also the kill feed as well. And that is the inclusion of everybody's Battle Pass level in brackets next to their username. I genuinely don't understand why this is information that needs to be shown to anybody other than yourself. It seems pointless. I mean, maybe it's to allow players a little bit of flexing, similar to games like Call of Duty or Halo with prestige badges and things like that, but I can't get behind that idea because you can literally buy the Battle Pass bundle to get 25 levels out the gate, and then beyond that, you can buy every other level if you want to. I genuinely have absolutely zero interest in knowing what good old Johnny Rocket 45 has achieved this season in terms of completing his Battle Pass. I don't care. I'm likely never going to see him again in another lobby, and it's not really the first thing that I'm looking at after I've killed somebody, or I'm looking in the kill feed. It's not insightful or informative at all. If you wanted it to actually be useful information, I guess you could go ahead and change it so it's season-long XP levels like we've always seen before, and that would give you a better sense of how much somebody's been playing the game, so maybe you would engage them a little bit more cautiously if they've got a higher number, but even that's a bit of a stretch. And the reason that I wanted to make a point out of this is because I think it promotes a weird environment whereby people will judge you straight out the gate based based on a number next to your username, and that's so bad. People will either think like, oh, well, this guy's rubbish, I'm just going to leave the lobby and go play with someone else, or they might have an inflated number themselves and try throwing their weight around, pretending that they're a god when they've just used their mum's credit card. A weird shame game could definitely get underway here, and I really hope that this is just an oversight on Epic's part. I hate to think that they've designed this system to maybe embarrass a couple of people and then have them throw money at the screen so they don't look quite as newbie. It's just, I don't know, it all just feels a bit wrong to me. Number 4. Where did the block go? Genuine question, where did the block go? It was such a huge innovation as far as, well, really any kind of video games go. Alright, well, maybe not Mario Maker, that hits the same kind of mark, but it's a real shame to see it gone. And I understand that they're trying to establish this new tone and new sense of maturity in this brand new dimension that all of our characters are now in, but they could easily have curated people in-house from the Epic officers, or even commissioned some people that are external creators that are sort of well revered in the community to build stuff out the gate to set the new tone. I can't imagine that this is gone forever, but it could still be a little while until we have it available, just purely because currently inside of creative mode we don't really have any of the new structures or the new buildings from any of our new points of interest inside of the prefab menu. There's nothing from Sweaty Sands, there's nothing from Dirty Docks or the Slurp Factory, there's nothing for people to sink their teeth into. For this one, we've just got to cross our fingers and hope for the best. Hopefully more prefabs will appear in the creative menu, people will start building stuff, and then the block will be introduced in one of the many weeks of Season 1. Number 5. Voice communication. This is definitely more of a personal ongoing complaint of mine rather than a wider community request, but as somebody who lives in the UK and pathetically only speaks one language, luckily it's English, which is pretty globally known, it's still really hard to find squad fills or duos where you have either one of these two things. The first of those being people that actually talk. I've noticed just from my experiences on each side of the pond that US players are more likely to have a chit chat on the microphone than EU players do. It's pretty radio silent over here. But honestly, I think that's because of point number 2 that I want to make, and that is the fact that you still cannot, in Chapter 2 Season 1, select what primary language you want to use on voice comms. I've genuinely lost count of the amount of times that I've joined a lobby and I can't talk to my teammates because 2 of them are Spanish, 1 of them's French, and none of them speak the other's languages. It just kind of kills the vibe a little bit. I don't know if anybody else feels the same, but for me, gaming has always been a very social thing. Even if I'm not playing with friends and I've just done a random queue on other games, I've always liked to have a chinwag with people about either in-game objectives or just about, you know, stuff. Now, I have absolutely no idea if this is a struggle over on the OCE side of things or on the US servers. I imagine it's not as much of a problem because English is very commonly spoken there. But bear in mind, in Europe, we've got upwards of 24 different languages being spoken, and I'm genuinely baffled that Epic doesn't want to pair you up with people that you can actually communicate with and have a more cooperative experience with. I genuinely wholeheartedly believe that my positive experiences meeting randoms in video games, becoming friends, partying up with them again and again and again, is a much healthier driving factor to make me want to play your game continually, rather than having grinds and quests and XP and things like that. I have flashbacks to the days where I would meet people in Halo lobbies, and then we go into, you know, the Forge mode and play stupid minigames, or even recently inside of Fortnite itself. I was doing squad fields one evening, just killing some time, relaxing, and then I met this couple, they were married, and they were like, oh, have you heard about Zone Wars? And at this point, it hadn't been made a main page game mode. They took me into a creative lobby, and the 3 of us just played it for like an hour and a half, and it was a really good time. I want more of that! It just doesn't happen for us British people. It just really doesn't happen very often. I think the only other time that's happened for me in the past month would have been probably a couple days ago, just before the servers went down. I met 3 Swedish people who luckily spoke English, and we had a great time. They're actually in one of the TikToks that I've posted, where I did a freestyle rap using their gamer tags. It was so wholesome. So for me, that brings value to gaming and makes the experience better. I wish Epic would address it. Number 5. Listing achievements. So in the current state of the game, every so often you'll be playing and out of nowhere an achievement will fling up on the screen. This is different from those weird medals that we've been collecting. This is an actual like recordable prominent moment inside of your gaming experience. And these seem to span all kinds of interactions, whether it be farming 999 of a certain material, winning a game in duos, eating your first slurp fish. They're all displayed on the career tab in the lobby as a timeline showing what happened and when. There is a downside to this though, and that is the simple fact that we don't know what the full list of achievements are unless we go to a data miner and ask them to hack it out of the game files, or potentially we get a word of mouth list gathered together over time. I totally appreciate that Epic have been wanting to get rid of the grind of Fortnite in this season, and making the battle pass easier to level up is all very applaudable, but I would really like just to have those silly little goals to try and tick off every so often, you know what I mean? They don't even have to necessarily give rewards, just kind of the personal satisfaction, the completionist inside of you will be appeased, and it gets people into that mindset of, oh, go on then, just one more drop. Number 6. Skill-based matchmaking. Oh boy, just saying those 3 words already makes me feel a little bit antsy. So if you didn't know, last season Epic introduced skill-based matchmaking. Now if you don't know what this is different to arena mode, because in arena mode you compete and every time you place or get kills you get points awarded to you, and from that point onwards you get paired up against people that have similar number of points to you. So it's a very visible and obvious number for you to see. Now skill-based matchmaking works differently. You don't know what your rank is, you don't know what your number is, and it affects all regular lobbies, whether that be solos, duos, or squads. So this number is being calculated on the back end, and I'd like to think it's being done very carefully. I know games like League of Legends, Overwatch, they have really delicate algorithms to figure this stuff out, and it will be contributed towards by everything. Kills, survival time, deaths, revives, positioning, all that sort of stuff. It all develops a number and will hopefully, ideally, pit you against people of a similar skill level. That would make the games better, right? Kind of, but not really. It's very obvious that Epic have introduced this system because they want to make their newer players have a smoother experience and a better learning curve, rather than getting stomped into the earth by somebody who's a 2-year sweat lord. It's a very positive mindset that Epic have, but it seems to be having a lot of adverse negative effects on the game. Like firstly, last season, the really elite players were starting to see massive increases in their queuing time for a simple round of solos, duos, or squads. It should never be a case of the lobbies have to wait until enough good people are in the lobby in order to go. It should just fill up with as many like-leveled people as possible, and then pull the higher tier people from the level below to then see if they can actually hack it. There's also the thing you have to consider as well of if your friend comes around to your house and you're taking it in turns playing the game, they absolutely pop off but you're still trash at the game, then is that going to bump your number up unexpectedly, and then suddenly your whole experience is ruined moving forwards. So we've spoken about the upper end, we've spoken about the lower end, but what about all the players that sort of dwell in the middle or the slightly higher up? That's where I feel as though I am. I'm slightly above average, but I'm certainly not a pro. And it was the YouTuber Wildcat tweeted this the other day, and I 100% agreed with it. He basically said that every fight that you enter now feels like a 50-50 as to whether you win or whether you die. And that statement would be great if we were only talking about arena mode. It's the simple fact that this is now translated into the core game modes where it's now becoming a problem. Just imagine how long it takes you to get into a lobby, waiting on the starting island, getting down and getting your first weapon, and then it pretty much comes down to a coin flip. It's not great. I feel as though it's pretty well established that in any game ever, you have ranked for playing like-leveled people, and then in the regular pub modes, it's a case of you can do some clapping and occasionally get clapped by people. And this doesn't just affect the gameplay experience either, it actually affects the brand as a whole, because this starts to taint the outward-reaching content and clips that people share out, or now the lack of them. Because a lot of Fortnite's charm in the earlier days, if you think about it, was silly clips of people doing rocket riding, using the trolleys, doing wild trick shots, even wiping out entire squads by themselves, just by the skin of their teeth. They were very impressive, they were shareable moments, and they built some content creators to be actual stars. But now, that's kind of been suppressed, and that's really unfortunate. It's definitely a brand new system, it's something that needs to be worked on, but I wanted to give another perspective on it. I hope that made sense. Number 7. The victory screen. With all the major overhauls that the reset has had, I really thought the victory screen would get something a little bit more popping and a little bit more spicy, but that hasn't happened. The amount of text and numbers that now flurry on your screen at the end of a round, it just makes me feel like I've won a game of solitaire on Windows 98. It just covers everything. It really is just driving home the fact again that XP and leveling are the only important things in this season, and we're not really relishing and memorializing the experience that you've just had with yourself, the duo, or the squad that you're with. I absolutely think that the slow-mo moment as you kill somebody is really important to keep. That moment of disbelief or confusion when you actually hit them to catch that dub, it enhances the moment so much, and it is one of the best additions the game has ever had. After that slow-mo's over and you regain control of your character, there's one of 3 things that pretty much everybody does. The first one is you stand completely static and you don't do anything. It's a bit boring. So one of the suggestions that I've seen on Reddit time and time again is almost doing some kind of highlight reel. Obviously this wouldn't be shown to every single player in the game because you might not have been in their replay file catchment area, but for yourself, as the player who's just won, how cool would it be to see a little montage of your eliminations from that game? The other thing that a lot of people do is they go ahead and emote. They basically taunt the people that they've just got ahead and defeated. Why not have a cool Overwatch style zoom up of your party or squad and basically have pre-selected emotes in the lobby that then animate? And then the third thing that most people tend to do is sloppy 90s, and if you're one of those people, shame on you. those people are never going to change. But anyway, let's throw one more idea out there, see what you reckon to it. How about the map appears on the screen and a cursor appears where your character was and it moves around the map, leaving a little white faint trail behind it showing you the path that you travelled in the game, and map icons appear for every elimination, every resurrect, every reboot, and every time you got downed in the game, just to kind of relive that history and see your rotation. Number 8. Tweaking medals and leveling. So you've just dropped into your first round of Fortnite for Season 1. The trailer played, you're unexpectedly gliding down, you get your first weapon and bap! Get a headshot on somebody, your first kill. A medal appears in the top third of your screen, accompanied by some text. Pretty cool. You chop down a tree, wazzow! Another medal again. You survive until the top 50 players. Not a particularly difficult thing to do, but here's another medal. That's all well and good until you realise that those prompts will appear every single game. That's going to get really old really quick. It's going to block your vision during pivotal moments of combat, and the audio will muddy up your senses so you have no idea which way is up, down, left or right. It's a nightmare. I would just really appreciate it if there was a setting to turn off that crazy big alert as if it's some kind of live stream, and actually just have it appear as text at the bottom of the screen, similarly to all the other XP upgrades. So I'll have it be text only, no noises. But after you've collected some of your medals, you'll notice that a thing appears on the left hand side of the screen. This is called the punch card, and they don't really explain what it is or what it does. The only other information on offer right here is that you've got plus 2k XP on some of them, plus 4k on some of the others, but what's that all for? I mean, even when you get back to the lobby, there's no additional information there either. It literally just says, medal punch card, it's got a timer counting down, usually for 24 hours, and then your various medals are listed there. That's it, there's no text. It doesn't even mention anything about whether the rarity of your medals means anything. Like, you know, if you've got a bronze one, is that just equivalent of gold? And as long as you fill the slots, you're going to get your 24k XP each day. There doesn't seem to be any driving information to suggest that a gold medal is any better than a silver or a bronze one, particularly not for the XP bonuses. Like, what if we just added a really gentle multiplier on top, like bronze ones would give you 10% more, you know, 20% for silvers and 30% for golds. And just a final note actually, given that they're putting this emphasis on bronze, silver and gold, I really thought that there would be an emphasis on tracking any of our leveling inside of this season, so I thought we could have a look at our combat medals or our combat level and track that as we go on. You could track the amount of XP that you've gained for scavenging or for surviving or even fishing. Like, imagine specifically fishing to grind up that level and getting a couple of fishing cosmetics here and there. Like, I'm imagining like a RuneScape level 99 cape. I would love that. You could have it track other stats as well, whether that be walking, driving, you know, swimming. You could even have one for building as well. Like, maybe you get XP every time that you build a little bit of something, and you have, like, you know, the architect leveling system. I just thought it was going to be a little bit more involved personally, but I guess it's all battle pass focused and they just want to get people to that level 100 ASAP. And finally, number 9. Let's not sweat, okay? The summer is over, we've been out sweating in the sun, and now we're going to sit inside all winter long and play video games. This is an impossible request, and it's a silly one, which is why I put it at the end of the video, but can we agree as a community to build less, go for silly plays more often, go for epic trick shots? I just want that kind of Season 1 vibe again, but in the new Season 1, you know what I mean? It's a huge ask, but I would love that. But I think we all know the answer to that question. I just don't think it's going to happen. People have come out the gate guns blazing this season, either to establish their dominance in a new world, or they just want that umbrella. And that just about rounds us out. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you did like the video, then of course, like the video. You can leave a comment down below so I can hear your guys' thoughts on everything that I've spoken about today, because I want this to be a genuine discussion. I'm really intrigued to hear other people's perspectives on certain topics. And of course, a little reminder, my supporter creator code is in the bottom left corner of the screen, inside the yellow box. It's in the little one. Use it. And like I said, 48 hours on that TikTok competition. Link is in the description. Comment your name. You might win. Thanks for watching. Bye.